All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom. And these are beautiful times. You know, this past weekend, or the past week, this whole year, this has been very exciting and beautiful times. You had signs in the heavens, you know, different eclipses, different what do you call that? Like the aurora borealis showing up. You know, signs and wonders in the heavens, the planetary alignment. You know, plenty of things. You know, you had the solar eclipse. Uh, just the signs and the wonders in the heavens have been exciting. But now you also have what wars and rumors of war. You know, last week Israel had assassinated one of the leaders of Hamas in Iran, supposedly, and now the U.S. is sending warships over to Lebanon. You have you know the Lebanese and Yemen gonna potentially be involved in this conflict. You have Iran, Russians meeting up with the Iranians, the Americans meeting up with the Israelis, to plan out what they're going to do, sending warships, all this stuff. Different nations like Japan renewing alliances with Babylon the Great. You know, it's a lot of exciting things going on. At the same time that Japan is creating or renewing their alliances with Babylon the Great, they also dumped about $22 billion worth of securities. You know, and then, what was it, last Friday that just passed, all the way in today, the news is, hey, the stock market took a dive. You know, the S&P 500, you know, all these things, these have potential for major implications. You know, major things happening. No telling what can happen after this. Because, hey, remember in 2007, hey, that was a horrible time, but hey, we're looking for things to get worse and worse. You know, not only with the rising cost of everything, or the inflation, which is the valuing of the dollar. You have food, everything is getting harder to find. You know, you don't know whether you're eating real food or lab grown food. You know, certain herbs, vegetables, and all these things, and meats are being found supposedly with listeria, so they can take them off the shelves. All these things are a recipe for a famine, for disaster, for a catastrophe. And all these things are all leading to one thing. So this man, the wicked man, Esau Edom, can bring in his beast system, so he can unload that MOTB to get people to take it. And the faster this happens, hey, the faster the kingdom of heaven comes. But this is Jeremiah chapter 28 and verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old, both prophesied. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. And it's no different today. We're prophesying the downfall of this wicked kingdom, Babylon the Great. And all these things are coming. War, evil, pestilence. There is not going to be any peace. But this is just from Wikipedia. This is going into societal collapse. And it says, and this is just the first paragraph, societal collapse is the fall of a complex human society characterized by the loss of cultural identity and social complexity as an adaptive system, the downfall of government, and the rise of violence. Possible causes of societal collapse include natural catastrophe, war, pestilence, famine, economic collapse, population decline or overshoot, mass migration, incompetent leaders, and sabotage by rival civilizations. Now, if you look at Babylon the Great, America, here, let's see how many of these they fit. because you have the loss of cultural identity. Hey, Americans here don't have any cultural identity. It's a melting pot. This is the place that heaps all nations to itself. This is a place where mass confusion, where you lose your identity here. You lose whatever nation that you came from. You become an American, which is just a Babylonian, a Sodomite, an Egyptian. You become a Roman. Let's see here. The downfall of government. Is the government not in a downfall? Here it is. You have a man, right? You don't even know if he's alive or not. You don't know if it's some dude in a mask. You know, he shows up looking different every time. You know, I've seen a video where they showed, it was with Zelensky, how they showed how they can film a lot of stuff in a studio environment where everything looks real. You know, it's all just backdrops and stuff like that. But he's really just been sitting in the bunker the whole time. But, you know, besides the point, hey, you don't know what you're seeing is really real. You don't know if this guy, hey, President Biden, whatever, could have been dead a year ago. Who would know? Who would tell? All these people are all actors. They're all acting. They're all keeping up a charade. They're all keeping up like things are fine. Meanwhile, hey, things are not good. Things are bad. These are bad times, and they're only going to get worse. So, the rise of violence, you're seeing that. Hey, over the weekend, you had different riots and things over in the UK. Riots and all this in Bangladesh, where I believe it was the prime minister had fled the country. You know, they showed what looked like the J6 thing, where they showed all them Bangladeshi people just sitting in the parliament, you know, eating up the prime minister's food and all that stuff, raiding the refrigerator, you know, cutting the head off the statue over there. You know, it's a lot of things. Riots are going on all over the world. This societal collapse isn't just happening here in Babylon the Great. This is worldwide. So you have war. You have war breaking out all over the world. You have the talks of World War III right now. World War III going to break out any moment now. And then also, you're going to have a civil war here. Pestilence, which is different diseases. Those are breaking out all over. You have different fungal diseases, different STDs, STIs. You know, the even the animals like the deer, they have the zombie deer disease. You know, people addicted to drugs. Now they have a different one called like zombie or whatever, where they just look like zombies out on the street. You know, stuff where it's eating away at their flesh. Famine. This is building up. You know, there might not even be a harvest this year. Because I know out here where I am, that rain that just passed over a few weeks back, that pretty much, if they didn't get their harvest up and together before that tropical storm or whatever it was hit, they lost their crops. And they're already the crops that I've seen out here when I was passing through, they already don't look that good. You know, they're all short, weak looking. And then not to mention the stores. You know, the stores only have so much food in them. You know, a day or two, if that. There's nothing in the back rooms over there. There's nothing in those grocery supply warehouses. Economic collapse, like I mentioned earlier, the stock market collapsing, population decline. So-called Edomites, white people here, they're not having kids. Mass migration. You're having mass migration, people coming from all over the world. You know, you don't hear too much about the southern border right now, but before you were having people coming from Russia, India, China, Venezuela, all those parts of Central America. All coming over here. India. Did I mention India? I might have. Incompetent leaders. Hey, these leaders here. Now you have the who's you had the presidential election this year, and who is that? Just Kamala Harris and Trump. These are the best you can do. These are incompetent leaders, but people worship Trump. The MAGA people, they worship him like, hey, that's Nero coming back. They worship him like he's a god, but he's not. And sabotaged by rival civilizations. So you have all these different civilizations. You have China, Russia. Those are the main ones that people think are saboteurs, but you have other ones. Venezuela. All these other countries that are coming over here. That, hey, Babylon the Great has destroyed their homeland, and now they're seeking revenge here. But all those are signs of societal collapse. Hey, in Babylon the Great, it hits every one of them. Every one of those signs for societal collapse. It's there. Babylon the Great, you can check it off, every one of them. This is Matthew 24, and I'll start at verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So that word for world doesn't mean the earth literally blowing up. It's speaking of an age. That word for world there is aeon, which is a period of time. A perpetual period of time, or perpetuity of time. Meaning, hey, all these kingdoms, they have a set time to rule. Like here, in Daniel chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 31 in the NLT. This is in your vision, your majesty, you saw standing before you a huge shining statue of a man. It was a frightening sight. The head of the statue was of fine gold. Its chest and its arms were silver. Its belly and its thighs were bronze. Its legs were iron. And its feet were a combination of iron and baked clay. So this is Daniel breaking down a dream to Nebuchadnezzar, and he's telling him, hey, this first kingdom, the head you saw of gold, the head represents, the Babylonian Empire, and then the chest represents the chest and the arms represent the Persians and the Medes, and the belly and the thighs were bronze, which represent the Greeks, and the iron represents the Roman Empire. And while the last part, the 10 toes, which is the iron to clay, represents NATO and the EU, or the revived Roman Empire, along with which those NATO and EU countries are the revived Roman Empire, or represent that. So it's a combination of all those, because it's iron and clay, because you have NATO and EU, which have representatives from all these different countries, which are rich and poor countries, and they really don't mix. But the point being is, all these kingdoms, the statue represents a succession of kingdoms. Who's going to be ruling when? The signs to look for. These are signs of different kingdoms. And during Yahushai's time, when he was on the scene, the Romans were ruling. So this is Matthew 24:3 again. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So also, it's not the end of the world blowing up, you know, because the Earth. Let me get this real quick. Let's see here. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 4 in the KJV. It says, "One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever." So the earth is going to be here forever. The earth is never going to blow up and be destroyed or anything like that. Which that's just, you know, people saying the world is going to end. This is the end of the world. They're not knowing what they're saying because they think, hey, just because this society comes to the end, that's the end of everything. When in actuality, this society here is death. There is no living here. But back to Matthew 24 and I'll start at verse 4. Matter of fact, let me see what this. This is Matthew 24 and verse 3 in the NLT. Later, Yahushua sat on the Mount of Olives. His disciples came to him privately and said, "Tell us, when will all this happen? What will be the signal of your return and the end of the world?" Yahushua told them, "Don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah. They will deceive many, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars." So, hey, there's many people coming out saying that they're anointed, they're messiahs, they're leaders, which they're not. You know, you have the many Christians, many different Israelite groups, you know, like IUIC, ISUBK, for instance, that are or Sakari, that are misleading people. But Yahushua told them, "Don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah. They will deceive many, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic." So here you're hearing of wars and different threats of wars. So a World War III on the rise, a war between Iran and Israel. You know, different wars breaking out. You're hearing about these things, different threats of wars. You're hearing about these things going on all over the world every day. And you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. Nation will go to war with nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world. But all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. So many different aids. You're going to have nation going to war against other nations. World War III. All these nations gathering together to fight. Let's see here. You have earthquakes and famines breaking out. In the UK, not only do they have these riots and all this stuff taking place, their farmers are saying they're not going to make a crop this year. There's not going to be a harvest for them this year. You know, earthquakes breaking out all over the world. You know, you have earthquakes in Tennessee, Wisconsin, or I think that was Wisconsin. Let me see. But you know, it's all good. Yeah, Wyoming, Wisconsin, Arkansas, earthquakes all over. all over the U.S. and all over the world, all within the last couple of days. This is Matthew 24 and verse 7 again. Nation will go to war against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world. But all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. So there's more evils to come. So let me see here. But these are all signs of Yahweh's coming, Yahweh's return. And Yahushua returning, he's not coming like a man. He's coming in a chariot. He's coming in the same way that he left. This is Acts chapter 1. And I'll start at verse 6, because this is after Yahushua was crucified, after he rose from the dead. He returned and he showed himself to different people, to different disciples, and the people for a number of days. And this is Acts 1 and 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, will thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So, they're asking because, the things happened. Yahushua died, he rose again. And they're asking, is this time, now is the time that you're going to restore the kingdom to Israel? Because they knew they were in that fourth kingdom. They knew they were in the Roman Empire. Verse 7, and he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me, both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. And all that's happened. The word spread out, and now it's all over the world via the internet. Now it's to the uttermost parts of the world, uttermost parts of the earth, all over. Verse 9, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So Yahushua was taken up in a cloud, in a chariot, which the scriptures refer to the chariots, which you would hear, they would call them UAPs or UFOs or unidentified phenomenon or whatever. But they're chariots of the Lord. They're referred to as clouds, mountains, wheels of fire. Verse 10, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye up, gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So the same way you've seen him go, the same way he's coming back. You seen him coming up, went up in the cloud, you're going to see him coming back in a cloud or in a chariot. So the point being, in the midst of all this chaos and everything that's going to be going on in the earth, this is when Yahushua is going to make his return. And it's going to shock the world. This is Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. So he's coming back. He's coming in the clouds. He's coming with a chariot. let's see here. This is Psalms 104, and I'll start at verse 1. Bless Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, O my soul. O Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, my power, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a garment. Thou stretchest out the heavens like a curtain. And this is speaking of the greatness of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. You know, how glorious he is. Verse 3, who layeth up the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariots. And that's the point, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Now this is the vehicle of the angels, or the vehicles, the chariots. You know, they also can look like clouds. They, you know, there's been several different sightings of them. Pilots see them. You see, they've been seen at nuclear plants or nuclear facilities. Let me see. You know what? Lauren will come back to me. That's all right. But back to Revelation chapter 1 and verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they which pierced him also they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. So every eye is going to see Yahushua. They're going to see him. What are they going to see? They're going to see a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah. This is Revelation chapter 1 in verse 13. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, showing you what he was wearing. He had an ancient garment. This is an ancient garment. This isn't just just some description, that doesn't mean anything. This is describing our Lord Yahushua. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girded about the paps with a golden girdle. So he had his garment all the way down to his foot. And it had fringes on it. And girded about the paps with a golden girdle. He had a gold belt on. His head and his hairs were white like wool. His head and his hairs. So it's describing his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. So they're describing the texture of it and the color of it. Like wool and white. White like wool and as white as snow. Both the color and the texture. It's telling you how white that is. It's telling you the kinkiness of his hair. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. So this so-called, which let me keep reading. Verse 15, and his eyes, verse 15, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So his feet like unto fine brass, meaning that they were super dark black, as if they burned in a furnace. Meaning they were super dark. Not that they were glowing white or any of that. They're super dark. But this is who it's describing, a so-called black man. And you imagine this. A so-called black man wearing a long garment down to his feet, with a gold belt, with a white woolly afro, eyes red. And super dark. Like fine brass, polished brass. This is Daniel chapter 10 and verse 5, just to back up the point, because it says, it's not just there in Revelation, it's here in Daniel 10 as well. Daniel 10 and 5 also showing you Yahushua is all over the scriptures. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. So describing the same thing, just in a different way. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. So describing the same thing, polished brass. The appearance of his face, what he was wearing. Describing the same man, Yahushua. But this is who's coming in the last days. This is who's coming in these last days, that the whole earth is going to mourn when he shows up, because they know that it's over. Matter of fact, let me go back to that. That's Daniel. This is Daniel chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 34 in the NLT. As you watched, a rock was cut from a mountain, but not by human hands. This is speaking of Yahushai. It struck the feet of iron and clay, smashing them to bits. So it's telling you, hey, this last time, Yahushua is coming to smash this kingdom. The whole statue was crushed into small pieces of iron, clay, bronze, silver, and gold. Then the wind blew them away without a trace, like chaff on a threshing floor. But the rock that knocked the statue down became a great mountain that covered the whole earth. And this is speaking of Yahushua's kingdom, the kingdom of Israel. Once Yahushua returns and takes out this last kingdom, the fourth kingdom, hey, Yahushua's kingdom is going to take over, and it's going to become great. It's going to inhabit the whole earth. But before then, hey, all these things have to happen. War has to happen. Evils have to happen. Evil has to multiply. The MOTB has to come. World War III has to happen. This is Joel chapter 3, and I'll start at verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. So both Judah and Jerusalem, or representing Israel as a whole, are going to be gathered together. But in this time, here in Babylon the Great, only the elect, or the 1/3, are going to make it out of here. The 144,000 and the 1/3 are going to make it out of here. They're the only people that are going to be saved out of this kingdom, out of this wicked kingdom. Verse 2, I will gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So this is what's going to happen. Hey, you see the different nations getting together. You know, Russia meeting with Iran, and the U.S. meeting with Israel in our land. And all these different nations, hey, there's going to be more of them that gather together, because this is the area of the valley of Yehoshaphat. They're going to have a massive war there. Oh, come on. But all the nations have had a part of us. They've all parted our land. They've had a piece of us. They shipped us. They had us in slavery. They shipped us all over the world, which, hey, we deserved it. We went against the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. I can't get this to load, but I don't even remember what I was going to get now. But this is part of that war that's going to be happening. This is Joel chapter 3 and verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that she may drink. And this happened. This happened throughout history. You know, these Edomites, they took boys and made them sex slaves. They traded little girls for different rum, for different alcohol. This is Joel chapter 3 and verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense on your own head. So Tyre and Zidon, in those days, those were the original Philistines, the Phoenicians, in those times. Now the people dwelling there now, which those people were Canaanites, Hamites. The people dwelling there now are different people. You know, most of the people there are Arabs dwelling there, or Ishmael. But in Africa, where Ham was, were in the same place we were, they were the main people that captured us and sold us to the nations. And to try to repay the Lord now, the Lord is just going to dump the shit back on your head. There is no reparations for Israel. The reparations is having these nations in subjection. The same way they had us in subjection. The same way we build up their kingdoms, they're going to build our kingdom. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried away into your temples my goodly, pleasant things, and they have that with the Ark of Titus. You know, they built up the Roman Colosseum with everything they took out of the temple. It's showing you how all these different nations, they built themselves up off of us, off of our kingdom. Matter of fact, that's it's partaker. But basically, you know, my phone's acting up. But the point, or the scripture I was wanting to get to was it's in First Maccabees, where it says, "What nation have not been partaker of her spoils?" Hey, but the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is gonna repay all these nations. This is Joel chapter 3 and verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. So, hey, we were sold to the different nations. Like, I believe that's Baruch, where it says you were sold to the nations, but not for your destruction. You know, roughly paraphrasing, but hey, we moved the Most High to wrath with our nonsense, with our going off constantly. This is Joel chapter 3 and verse 7. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. So we're being raised up in these last days. The men of Israel, the Israelites, are returning in these last days, returning to our heritage, remembering who we were. Because there would be a period of time where we didn't know who we were. You know, all the other captivities we knew. This is the only captivity where we had no idea. We lost our identity as a whole. Verse 8, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai have spoken it. But the point being, hey, now your people, all of the other nations are going into slavery. All the nations are going into slavery. And eventually you'll be sold. Like Esau, Edom. You're not going to be sold to the other nations. You're going to be completely destroyed after a period of time, after 1,000 years. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So again, this is the time where you see different nations gathering for war. They're gathering their armies, they're building up their arsenals, they're building up their nuclear weapons. And now Iran, they say, hey, we got nuclear weapons now. All the nations are saying that. This is Joel chapter 3 and verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords. So this time, hey, this isn't a peaceful time. This isn't a time where people are farming. People are building up their arsenals for war. They're not building up for agriculture. They're turning their farm equipment into weapons. Like I remember when I was real young, hearing about I can't remember, but hearing about some of the wars that Bush Sr. had, and they said they sent them, vehicles, and they converted them vehicles, which were supposedly meant to be for farming, and they converted them to military weapons. Well, in these times, hey, they're converting all their weapons, all their energy, all that is going to the military production. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So although even the weak nations, they all have nuclear arms. All of the nations have nuclear armaments. The weakest nations, the poorest nations, they have this now. Now they're strong. Where at one point, it was only Babylon the Great, America, that had these weapons. And they would flaunt that all over everybody. Hey, you don't want that Hiroshima treatment, do you? Well, give us your oil. Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. Excuse me. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So hey, all the heathen are going to be judged in this time. This is going to be a terrible, terrible time. And this is right around the corner. You see it building up more and more. You already see these two superpowers gathering together. And now we're waiting to see what Iran is going to do, how they're going to retaliate. Which, hey, you see why those two superpowers are there. Russia and America. Because they have to plan this out. They have to strategize. You can't just, they know that now it's wartime. Now it's go time. But, they're trying to hold it off as long as they can, but they're not going to be able to. You can't prevent what the Lord has said to do. This is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So this war coming, and this is going to be a nuclear war coming. This is going to be different from all the previous wars, because the wars back then were swords clanging together, men yelling, two armies facing each other. But now this war, World War III, how this is going to be completely fought and ended is going to be with nuclear weapons. They're going to be completely. It's going to be. This is different than all the previous wars. Matter of fact, I can read that again in the NLT. This is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5 in the NLT. The boots of the warrior and the uniforms bloodstained by war will all be burned. They will be fuel for the fire. So all this is going to be burnt up. Everybody's going to be burnt up, especially here in Babylon the Great. When Yahushua returns, he's going to burn up all the different nations. Matter of fact, let me get that before. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. As a matter of fact, let me just try this real quick. Let me see. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 1 in the GNT. The 7 days passed, and the following night I had a dream. In my dream, I saw a wind coming up out of the sea and stirring up great waves. As I watched, the wind brought with it out of the sea what looked like a man, and he was flying on the clouds. Now, who is that speaking of? That's speaking of Yahushua. When he turned his face, everything he looked at began to tremble. And when he spoke, everyone who heard his voice melted like wax in a fire. Showing you how powerful Yahushua is. Just his voice. Making these things tremble, making these different things melt. I looked again and saw a crowd too large to count. They were gathered together from all parts of the world to fight against the man who had come up out of the sea. And this is speaking of Yahushua. And when he came and cracked the clouds, that's all right. I was going to get that, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. When he came and cracked the clouds, all these nations, and they saw this man. This is those different nations mourning. You know, they're going to see him. Matter of fact, I'll just keep reading. 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 5 in the Good News translation, I looked again and saw a crowd too large to count. And this is all the different armies gathered together in the valley of Yehoshaphat. And for Armageddon, which is Harmageddon. Matter of fact, let me get that too. Okay. This is Revelation chapter 16 and verse 16. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And he's speaking of all the different troops, all these different armies all gathered together, which Armageddon is Hebrew for Har Magadwan, which is the mountain or mount. Har meaning mountain, Ma meaning of, and then God, one or God, Gad meaning troops. So mountain of troops. So this is the same thing. This is spoken about the valley of Yehoshaphat This here in Second Ezra 13, this is all the same place. All the nations gathered together. The Americans, the Iranians, the Russians, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, Ammon, all the nations, the Edomites, all of them, all there together, gathered there to get judged. This is 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 5. I looked again and saw a crowd too large to count. There were people gathered together from all parts of the world to fight against the man who had come up out of the sea. So all them different people, they're gonna stop whatever fighting that they're doing. When they see Yahushua return, they're gonna try to fight Yahushua. Then I watched a man carve out a high mountain and fly upon it, meaning this is a great chariot. And I tried to see the place or the region from which the mountain was carved, but I couldn't. Then I saw that all the people who had come together to make war against him were terrified. So again, let me read that again. I tried to see the place or region from which the mountain was carved, but I couldn't. Showing you how big the chariot that Yahushua has, and how big Yahushua is going to be when he shows up. Because hey, he saw this man standing on top of a mountain, showing you how big Yahushua is and how big his chariot is going to be. Verse 9, when the man saw the great crowd, verse 8, Slagia. Then I saw that all the people who had come together to make war against him were terrified, but they still prepared to fight him. So all the different nations, all these people are going to be terrified when they see Yahushua, a so-called black man, cracking the clouds, riding upon a chariot. They're going to be terrified. But the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to put the spirit on them to fight. When the man saw the great crowd advancing to attack him, he did not take up any weapons. The only thing I saw was that he looked like a stream. The only thing I saw was what looked like a stream of fire coming out of his mouth. He sent a flaming wind from his lips and a storm of sparks from his tongue. So he didn't have any weapon. He only burned him up with his mouth. Sent that fire out of his mouth. Let's see here. That's all right. My phone's acting up. It's okay. But the scripture I wanted was in Isaiah, how it says, "I will not meet thee as a man," meaning that hey, he's not gonna meet you how I read in Isaiah the 9th chapter how the wars are fought with confused noise and all this. He's coming back as a spiritual power. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 13 again. When the man saw the great crowd advancing to attack him, he did not take up any weapons. The only thing I saw was what looked like a stream of fire coming out of his mouth. The laser, that was a laser coming out of the chariot. He sent a flaming wind from his lips and a storm of sparks from his tongue. The stream of fire, the flaming wind, and the great storm combined and swept down on the crowd that was coming to attack him and burned them all up in a single moment. That crowd, too large to count, vanished, and there was nothing left but powdery ashes and the smell of smoke. I was shocked when I saw what had happened. So this is Yahushua coming back. He burned up all these armies, completely destroying them. Completely, the armies getting judged. Like it says, when the Lord will bring them to the valley of Yehoshaphat, he's going to bring them there to judge them. which that's what Yahweh Shabbat or Jehoshaphat means. It means Yahweh, he is, he to be, and Shabbat meaning judgment. This is the place of judgment. And at the same time, after this, Yahushua is coming to save his people, Israel, the elect of Israel, started with the 144,000. But at the same time, this is going on. This is Joel chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 2. This is in the NLT. Sound a trumpet in Jerusalem. And this is where the men of the Lord are doing. The men of the Lord, starting with the elders and apostles of GMS, when whatever cities that the men of the Lord are in, and we're all sounding the trumpet, sounding this alarm that the war is happening, to repent, to turn back before it's too late. Because on this day when Yahushua returns, it's going to be too late. When the ICBMs drop, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late to figure out, the names of the Yahweh, Yahushai. It's going to be too late to figure out, what you need to know to make it in these times. What you need to refine yourself. The tools and everything that you need for salvation, which is all in this book. But at that time, it's probably going to be too late because, they're most likely going to outlaw the scriptures, which you already see that lined up in the books. The small hats want to come out with that law to outlaw preaching the scriptures. But this is Joel chapter 2 and verse 1 in NLT. Sound a trumpet in Jerusalem, raise the alarm on my holy mountain. Let everyone tremble in fear, because the day of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is upon us. So this is the day. This day is fast approaching. It is a day of darkness and gloom, a day of thick clouds and deep blackness. So, this day that's coming, the terrible day, the sky is going to be blacked out, especially from the ICBM missiles. Once those mushroom clouds hit, or once the ICBMs hit and release those mushroom clouds, it's going to black out the sky. It is a day of darkness and of gloom. It is a day of darkness and gloom, a day of thick clouds and deep blackness. Suddenly, like dawn spreading across the mountains, a great and mighty army appears. Nothing like it has been seen before or will ever be seen again. And this is the ICBM missiles. There's been nothing like those in history. From the ancient world, they didn't have weapon technology like that. The closest thing to that was when Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, and that was, the angels did that. The Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai put this into the minds of men to make these weapons. This is Isaiah 54 and verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his works. And I have created the waster to destroy. And the modern day smith are the different scientists. Different scientists that made that the atomic bomb, all those different physicists, all them people that work together to bring and to produce the atomic bomb and what became the nuclear bomb. And what you have now is different types of ICBMs and hydrogen bombs and many different things and many different names for, you have many different types of weapons now. But this is all created by that smith, the scientists, which are the modern day smiths. But these were created to bring this destruction. These were created to bring this death, to bring this massive death. This is Isaiah chapter 34. And I'll start at verse 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all the things that come forth of it. So everybody gather around. Everybody hear this. For the indignation of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is upon all nations. So the indignation, the righteous anger, is upon all the nations. And his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. So before this even happens, he's telling you that he's already destroyed you. He's already destroyed these nations. It hasn't even happened yet. He's already telling you. Showing you how bad Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is. Verse 3, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Showing how much death that these weapons can cause. These ICBM missiles. Which, that's redundant, because ICBM is intercontinental ballistic missile. So I'm saying missile twice. So these ICBMs. Isaiah 34 and verse 3 again, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Verse 4, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. So showing you, this is how the heavens shall be dissolved. Matter of fact, let me see. I pulled that up in 2 Peter, Lord willing. But everything is going to be melted away. This whole entire way of life, everything is going to be melted away. It's going to be dissolved. The heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, describing the mushroom clouds. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth from the vine, as a falling fig tree from the as a falling fig from the fig tree. So describing as a visual, the fig. Once that fig is ready to drop, it just lets go. And once these things they go, matter of fact, I'll just keep reading. Verse 5, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So this sword shall be bathed in heaven, describing the ICBMs, describing their trajectory. Because two things, describing the trajectory. When an ICBM, it goes up into the atmosphere, meaning it's going to be bathed in heaven, meaning it's going to go into the heavens and come back down. It's going to make the arcing motion. And also bathed in heaven, meaning how much killing they're going to do. It's going to be saturated with the blood. Here, because this is Esau's kingdom. This sword is going to come down upon Idumea. This is Esau's kingdom here. This is Babylon the Great. Matter of fact, let me read this first as I'm here. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, and I'll start it. Let me see here. I'll start at verse 3. This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 3. Most importantly, I want to remind you that in the last days scoffers will come, mocking the truth and following their own desires. So there's plenty of scoffers out there saying that the ICBMs, they're not going to use them. They're made to sit in museums. This war is not going to happen in our time. Yet, We're seeing it. We're seeing these things being built up. How can you say it's not going to happen when it's right in front of your face? How can you say it's not there? The only way you can say that is if you're blind. And that's true. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has blinded these people. Let me see here. I think that's Isaiah 6. This is Isaiah chapter 6. And I'll start at verse 9. And he said, yes, go and say to this people, listen carefully, but do not understand. Watch closely, but learn nothing. Harden the hearts of these people. And this is speaking of the Israelites. You know, the 2/3, those are not chosen. Those that the Lord sealed up their ears, sealed up their understanding. So they can't get this. Because he doesn't want them to be healed. He doesn't want to save them. Not in this time. Because in this time, he's only coming for his elect. It says, verse 9 again, this is Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 9 in the NLT. And he said, yes, go and say to this people, listen carefully, but do not understand. Watch closely, but learn nothing. Harden the hearts of these people. Plug their ears and shut their eyes. That way they will not see with their eyes, nor hear with their ears, nor understand in their hearts, and turn to me for healing. Hey, because this is a terrible day. And you want to, if you're in your right mind, you heard this word, you want to be saved from this destruction that's coming. You're going to do whatever it takes to please Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, that he'll have mercy on you. You don't want to be one of these people that are blind and can't hear, can't see, can't understand anything. They don't understand what's right in front of them. Verse 10, harden the hearts of these people, plug their ears, shut their eyes. That way they will not see with their eyes, nor hear with their ears, nor understand with their hearts, and turn to me for healing. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai doesn't want these people to turn to him. He doesn't want these scoffers. He doesn't want them. That's why he gave them over to this. Then I said, Lord, how long will this go on? And he replied, until their towns are empty, their houses are deserted, and the whole country is a wasteland. Until Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has sent everyone away, and the entire land of Israel lies deserted. If even a tenth, a remnant survive, it will be invaded again and burned. But as a terebinth or oak tree leaves a stump when it is cut down, so Israel's stump will be a holy seed, meaning that there will still be a remnant. But Israel has been deserted. Israel's been taken over by these heathen nations. You know, they're parting the land for them. They're deciding what they're going to do with it. You know, what kind of lofts, oil rigs are going to build over there in our land. But this has happened. But hey, let me get that in the KJV as well. This is Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 9 in the KJV. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. See ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. So the Lord, again, once again, doesn't want these people to get it. Doesn't want the 2/3 of our people to understand. He wants to cut them off. Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land, which just happened. That was 70 AD. But back, let me see. I know I had that. Because hey, you see all these things happening. You see the prophecies, all the things that I read off, the signs of societal collapse, all these things happening. But still, people are not taking heed. People are going day to day, thinking that they're gonna start a new business or make some money or whatever. When that's not the time. You're gonna become a millionaire. You're gonna become famous. You're gonna do this and that. When the end is approaching, the end of this kingdom is approaching, destruction is coming. I'm trying to get back to that Joel. Okay. This is Matthew chapter 16 and verse 1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. And he answered and said unto them, this is Yahushua speaking, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times? So, describing, what's happening? You can tell the weather, you can look at the weather, but you don't know the signs of the times. You don't know that this civilization is collapsing. You don't know that these ICBMs are going to be used for the destruction of Babylon the Great. Verse 4, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. Meaning that, they're always looking for a sign. These scribes, the Sadducees, these people today, they're always looking for different signs of different things, of what's to come. This and that. And there shall be no sign there, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left him and departed. So what did Jonah do? All he did was tell them what was going to happen. But back to this 2 Peter. But they're still not going to believe. They're not going to believe. They're not going to believe. I can't remember exactly the scripture. I think roughly paraphrasing is like you won't believe even though a prophet told you. But that's going to bug me. That's all right. But they're not going to believe because the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai shut up their ears. This is back to 2 Peter chapter 3, and I'll start at verse 3 again. Most importantly, I want to remind you that in the last days, scoffers will come, mocking the truth and following their own desires. You know, you're not the Israelites, whatever. It doesn't matter. Supersessionism. We're all saved. You know, God loves everybody. God loved the whole world. All this. The earth isn't going to be destroyed. You know, all these things. Destruction isn't coming. Y'all are false prophets, demons. But these are scoffers, walking after their own desires. They will say, what happened to the promise that Yahushua is coming again? So, hey, even today, you know, where's Yahushua? They even mocked the elders of GMS, which GMS wasn't even around back then. They mocked them because at that time, what was taught in the One West school was that Yahushua was coming at the year 2000. Even though it's been explained that, you shall desire to see. Let me see that. Even though it's explained to them several times that, them wanting Yahushua to return in the year 2000 was part of prophecy. This is Luke 17:22, and he said unto the disciples, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. So even in the 2000s, when back then, which the apostles and elders, which the apostles have been teaching for over 30 years. And so they've been wanting to see Yahushua for a long time. The men before them had desire to see Yahushua. But the year 2000, that was taught what was in the schools, what was in the One West school at that time. But ye shall desire, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. So back then, they wanted to see Yahushua, and they didn't. But that's just part of prophecy. But saying, the scoffers are like, you said Yahushua was coming. Where is he? Well, he's not here. So that must make you a false prophet. No. Because Yahushua is coming in these days. The MOCB has to happen. A lot of things has to happen before Yahushua returns. This is Luke 12:49. This is Yahushua speaking. I am come to send fire on the earth. Hey, like I read in 2 Ezra 13, Yahushua is coming with that fire. He's going to be breathing out the laser beam, the fiery tempest, the fiery winds, all that. I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it be already kindled? So when Yahushua returns, the world is already going to be in chaos. The world is already going to be on fire when he returns. It's already going to be, the stuff is already going to be popping off. In other words, is what he's saying. So the world has to descend into more and more chaos. This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 4. They will say, what happened to the promise that Yahushua is coming again? From before the times of our ancestors, everything has remained the same since the world was first created. So they're saying, everything's the same. Every day is going by, all this. Since the world was created, everything's going on the same. Speaking out of ignorance. Speaking out of the side of their mouth. Speaking out of their ass. When a wise man will be able to see these prophecies happening. Somebody that can see all these things happening. To put it together. To see the signs. This is 2 Ezra chapter chapter 9, and I'll start at verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So if everything's continuing on from the beginning as it's ever been, everything's been the same every day, everything's the same, then why would Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai need to put out there to measure the time? Look at what's going on. Measure the time like you do on the road. You see a road marker, 40 miles to such and such. That's how close you know you're getting. 10 miles to such and such. You're getting closer. 1 mile. Now you're at such and such city, population, 6,000. Now you're there. Now we're seeing these signs. When you see wars, rumors of wars, famines, earthquakes, all these things, you're getting closer and closer. But all these things have to happen. MOTB, World War III, all these things are the final stops before the kingdom of heaven. Second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So I'll keep reading. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai spoke of these things from the beginning, but these scoffers say everything's going on like it's from the beginning. But who is it? Because, what is it? Roughly paraphrasing, let every man be a liar, but let me get that. This is Romans chapter 3 and verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? Most High forbid. Yea, let Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and the mightiest, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. But let Most High, let Yahweh be true, and every man a liar. If they're saying everything's going on the same way, whatever, they're lying. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai tells the truth. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai cannot lie. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. So everything is continuing on as it's supposed to be, or as it's been from the beginning. Yet the scriptures which Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai inspired, these are saying there's different signs going on. There's different signs and different wonders. All these things for time, to tell time, to let you know what's going on, what period of time that we're in. And now you're seeing these things manifest. These things showing up. Telling you, letting you know what time we're in. That things aren't just continuing on as they have been from the beginning. No, they're not. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai put all these things here for markers, for everything, for signs, wonders, all this, to let you know that the end is near. But back to 2 Peter chapter 3. And I'll start at verse 5 in the NLT. They deliberately forget that the Most High made the heavens long ago by the word of his command. And he brought the earth out from the water and surrounded it with water. Then he used the water to destroy the ancient world with a mighty flood. So you forgot about that? You forgot about the flood? Well, now, people are behaving the same way. Pre-flood behavior. And by the same word, the present heavens and earth have been stored up for fire, created the waster to destroy. All these things are coming to bring judgment on the earth. This fire has come to cleanse the earth. And by the same word, the present heavens and earth have been stored up for fire. They are being kept for the day of judgment, when ungodly people will be destroyed. And that Yahweh Shaphat, Yahweh's judgment. But you must not forget this one thing, dear friends. A day is like 1,000 years to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and 1,000 years like a day. So, a day to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is 1,000 years to us. 1,000 years to us is like a day to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So if Yahushai went up into the heavens 2,000 years ago, it's only been 2 days. So it seems like it's a long time here, but to there, in the heavens, it's nothing. Verse 9, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai isn't really being slow about his promise, as some people think. No, he is being patient for your sake, for the Israelites. He does not want anyone to be destroyed, but he wants everyone to repent. But the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai will come as unexpectedly as a thief, when the heavens will pass away with a terrible noise, and the very elements themselves will disappear in fire, and the earth and everything on it will be found to deserve judgment. So great, terrible day is coming. The earth is going to be burnt up. And I'm going to come back and read that again, but I want to get this real quick. This is Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 17 in the NLT. Son of man, I have appointed you as a watchman for Israel. Whenever you receive a message from me, warn people immediately. If I warn the wicked, saying, you are under the penalty of death, but you fail to deliver the warning, they will die in their sins, and I will hold you responsible for their deaths. So the men of the Lord, all the men out there that you see preaching, they have a responsibility to rebuke, to tell the people that they're going off, to tell the people to repent, to turn back, which the people meaning the Israelites, which are scattered into every nation, looking like the heathen nations, looking like all the other nations. So if we don't do this job, if we don't warn the people to repent, the blood will be on our hands. You'll still die, but we'll have blood on our hands. But, verse 19, if you warn them and they refuse to repent and keep on sinning, they will die in their sins. But you will have saved yourself because you have obeyed me. So, if these people, we gave them the word, they didn't hear it. Like how it said in Isaiah 6. They didn't hear it. Hey, that's on them. We did our job. The blood is off of our hands. What more can we do? Now the only thing you got to look forward to is this day of judgment coming. This is 2 Peter chapter 3. And I'll start at verse 7 again. No, I'm sorry. It's like it. This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10 in the NLT. But the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai will come as unexpectedly as a thief. So this day is fast approaching, like a thief in the night. You're not going to know exactly when it's coming. There's no set time. Not for us. Even Yahushai doesn't know. Even he's coming back. He doesn't even know when he's coming back. But we have to watch. That's why we have these signs to look for. So this day doesn't spring up on us by surprise. We know he's coming. We know Yahushua is coming. We know the day of judgment is coming. We know the World War III is coming. We know the MOTB is ready to be released any moment now. Whatever chain of events need to happen to bring this out, but we know it's coming. We know it's being set up. We already know it's in the works. We already seen people getting it. But before I get too far ahead of myself, 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10 in the NLT, but the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai will come as unexpectedly as a thief. Then the heavens will pass away with a terrible noise. Hey, those ICBMs are very loud, incredibly loud. Those loud bombs going off. And the very elements themselves will disappear in fire. So the elements are going to melt. With fervent heat, they're going to be completely broken down. Hey, those ICBMs, the MIRVs, all these things, hey, they can burn hotter than the sun. From what the different data that I've read on them, hey, that's super hot. You don't want to get caught up in that fire. And the earth and everything on it will be found to deserve judgment. So everything here, hey, everything that's going to be burnt up, everything that's going to be destroyed, it's going to deserve the judgment. If you're here in Babylon the Great, if you're a wicked Jake, a 2/3, and you get destroyed in this, hey, you deserve that judgment. Verse 11, since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, what holy and godly lives should you live? So what type of lives should you be living after these Babylonians? Should we be taking part of all these things, all these fleshly things? Should you be living like these people, living like after these Romans? Since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, what holy and godly lives should you should live, looking forward to the day of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and hurrying it along. On that day he will set the heavens on fire, and the elements will melt away in the flames. But we are looking forward to the new heavens and the new earth he has promised, a world filled with the Most High's righteousness. So we're looking for that new world, the world that stone without hands built up, the righteous kingdom. A kingdom where we don't have to worry about persecution or worrying about our enemies rising up. Which, hey, none of our enemies are going to rise up. The Russians aren't coming back. Nobody's coming back from this ass whooping that Yahushua is bringing. No other nation is going to come back from that. This is back to Joel chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 3 in the NLT. Fire burns in front of them, and flames follow after them. Ahead of them the land lies, as beautiful as the Garden of Eden. And this is speaking of the destruction of Babylon the Great. While there's cities and everything here, but hey, before these ICBMs hit, hey, it's compared to the Garden of Eden. It's beautiful in comparison to what it's going to be. Fire, verse 3 again, fire burns in front of them, and flames follow after them. Ahead of them the land lies, as beautiful as the Garden of Eden. Behind them is nothing but desolation. Not one thing escapes. They look like horses. They charge forward like war horses. Look at them as they leap along the mountaintops. Listen to the noise they make, like the rumbling of chariots. Like the roar of fire sweeping across a field of stubble, or a mighty army moving into battle. So this is describing the ICBMs. You got to use your imagination with this. It's using flames and stubble a lot. Using that they're leaping across. Describing the trajectory of these missiles. It's showing how they fly, showing you how they burn up things. Things are destroyed before them. Before it, it's a Garden of Eden. Afterward, it's complete desolation, destruction. Verse 6, fear grips all the people. Every face grows pale with terror. Because when this happens, hey, they're not going to know what to do. Hey, these hypersonic missiles, hey, they can get here in 15 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes. I don't remember the exact time. Hey, it's within 15 minutes though. They're super quick. You got no time to do anything. You can drive out of a big city in 15 minutes. You and what 5 million other people trying to get out of the city, and it's not gonna happen. Verse 7, the attackers march like warriors and scale city walls like soldiers. Straight forward they march, never breaking rank. You know, speaking about, hey, these missiles aren't going to hit each other. They aren't going to miss. They aren't going to misfire. They aren't going to. Matter of fact, let me get that too. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So these arrows, which the different terminology for nuclear arms, they use arrows a lot. Like they have broken arrow. That's the only one I can think of right now. But there's another one. I think it's I want to say sheath. They have references to it as a sword. Matter of fact, I can just look it up. Like here you have different, this is from the Wikipedia. It says United States military nuclear incident terminology. It says this is a bent spear, refers to incidents involving nuclear weapons, warheads, or components or vehicles transporting nuclear materials that are, but basically, this refers to a broken arrow, which involves a nuclear weapon. A broken arrow is an accidental or unexplained nuclear explosion. But, you know, other things, broken arrow incidents, nuke flash, which I'm talking about spear, broken arrow, empty quiver. That's the one I was thinking of. Empty quiver is refers to when somebody steals a nuclear weapon. A dull sword, but there's different things that this nukes are referred to as arrows, or different types of ancient weapons like a spear, a sword, all this. But where was I in this? Oh, 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And this is the end of the world, like the actual ends. Because the old in the east is the ancient world. This is the new part of the world. This is the end. Behold, verse 14, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till they consume the foundations of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty one, returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. So this destruction is coming, and it's not going to be put back. It's not going to turn back. This is going to hit its mark. It's going to come to Babylon the Great. It's going to destroy this place. This place will be a desert. And this is Ezra when he's seeing that. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 17. Woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? Because he's seeing all the terror, all the destruction, even the nuclear destruction when it's happening. Second Ezra 16 and verse 18, the beginning of, and he's also seeing himself in these times. So Ezra is back today when he saw this. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So, in these times, they're not even gonna think of these things as happening. They're gonna think everything is just continuing on as it is. When all these things just continuing, like as they were, like this is just normal. Verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So all these things are building up. Sword, the famine, great confusion. This is already the land of confusion. Things are going to get more confusing. You know, people, the government's falling apart, everything falling apart. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape hunger, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So a lot of people are going to die in the famine that's coming. The rest are going to be destroyed by the sword. You know, these different troops are already here. The civil war is building up. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. A destruction, all these things are coming to these cities. You know, these cities are going to be pretty much desolate. They're going to be abandoned pretty much. Verse 24, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all the places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of a field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves, in the clefts of the rocks. So there's going to be so much, chaos and all this stuff going on, so much death happening, that the cities, there's only going to be a few people left in the cities. That the different fruit trees, all the different farms or whatever, all the different crops that'll grow, all the things that grow on their own, there's not going to be anybody to pick them. As an orchard of olives upon every tree, there is left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when the vineyard is gathered, there are some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. So you're going to still have people going through other people's houses, scavenging. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. So, hey, the different paths, all these things, the nature hikes and trails. Hey, you seen that a few years ago in during the pandemic. You know, people were stuck inside. Hey, the animals started to roam through the city. Stuff started to grow over. The wildlife and vegetation started to take back over. That's going to be happening in these times. Verse 33, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. So, hey, the women, there's talk of a draft. The draft is coming. The draft is coming back. All you men that are of eligible age, and they're going to raise the age, hey, y'all are going to be shipped off to fight. And hey, a lot of you women as well. But hey, these women are going to be mourning. They're not going to have husbands. Now all of a sudden, all these women are going to want husbands. Now they're going to want people to take care of them. When all this time they were independent, they could do this. Whatever, they didn't need a man. Or you weren't right for them. You know, you weren't a 6'7" millionaire accountant with blue eyes and blonde hair or whatever. You know, you didn't fit their standards. And now, hey, there's not going to be any men left for you to even, you know, you're going to take whatever you can get, pretty much. But there's not going to be anybody. Verse 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So, hey, the bridegrooms, these young men, they're all going to be shipped off to war. To the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. So for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's judgment. They're all going to be died. They're all going to be died. They're all going to die. They're all going to be destroyed. And their husbands shall perish of famine. Hey, they might go out one day looking for some food, never come back. You know, die of hunger. Second Ezra 16 and 35. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servant of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Behold the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Receive it. Believe not the gods whom the Lord spake. So all these other false gods, all the gods of the nations are all idols. They're all wood and stone. They can't do anything. Don't believe them. Don't believe what Christianity comes with. That Jesus loves everybody. What Islam comes with, whatever they say. You worship a rock. You know, this and that. What Buddhists say. I don't know what they... But don't believe... Whatever. The point is, don't believe in these other nations because they have no power. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is bringing all these things to pass. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is the true power. Verse 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. So these plagues that are coming, these plagues are coming. They're coming and they're not slack and they're not. Matter of fact, what is that? This is Habakkuk chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So, and the men of the Lord are standing upon the tower. They're standing and watching all the world events, watching everything that happens, constantly watching. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So the vision has already been written down. All these things are in the scriptures. Everything is contained in the scriptures. And so, and the men of the Lord, the prophets, are making it plain. So all these things are being able to be understood, making it understandable, breaking down the visions. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So even though seems like it's taking a long time, it seems like it's taking forever, hey, these things are already set into place. These things are happening. These things, what seems like slacking or whatever, what seems like a long time, these things are moving fast. This is 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So these things, all these events, once again, giving you a how do you call it? A measurement of time. But this time relating to a pregnant woman. You know, when a pregnant woman, her water breaks, she starts feeling the pain, the baby's coming, the same way the world is now. The world is feeling these pains. The world is having all the signs. War, earthquakes, famines, destruction. All these things are birthing pains. And what's it giving birth to? In the kingdom of heaven. This is getting ready to happen. These are all the signs. Verse 30, 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 39, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn. Matter of fact, I'll start up again. 2 Ezra 16, 38, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So, the earth, all these things, the plagues, all these things are coming, and they're not slacking. And they're getting closer and closer. These contractions, these birthing pains are getting closer and closer. Showing you, hey, this travail that's getting ready to happen to the earth is coming. And the whole earth is going to mourn. The whole earth is going to be mourning. Hey, also one, because the wicked are ruling right now. Because it says in Proverbs, when the wicked rule, roughly paraphrasing, when the wicked rule, the people mourn. But when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So the people are mourning right now. But when the righteous Yahushua gets here and establishes his kingdom, hey, the people are going to be rejoicing. Even the people, all these other nations that are going to be in slavery, they're going to be rejoicing because, hey, their slavery is going to be much better than the wickedness that happened here. And I'll close out with this. 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 39. Even so shall not the... Oh, no, wait. 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 40. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. So get ready for this. This is the battle that's going to be happening. Get ready. Prepare yourself. Prepare your soul. Prepare your spirit. Prepare your mind. Because this is going to be a terrible time on the earth. You know, you have to be ready for this. Because all the wicked on this earth, they're not ready for this. They're not ready at all. Matter of fact, I'll close out with this one. This is Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 4. And these are the words that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So this is the voice that's going out. It's not a peaceful voice going out. This is a voice of trembling, a voice of fear. The trumpet's being blown for war. Verse 6, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. And wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces turn into paleness. So the men are acting like women these days because hey, this is such terrible, terrifying times that they're not going to know what to do. Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So this is Jacob's trouble. Trouble for Israel, trouble for the Israelites. This is going to come to try the whole world. But Jacob, the elect, starting with the 144,000 and 1/3, are going to be saved out of it. And Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKadosh. Hey, peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, shalom.